showcase some of the talented people who work behind the scenes in the entertainment, business, and local communities, while making positive influences on the lives of others.
Welcome to Producer Profile. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Orville Nelson.
And Orville, you remember this song by James Brown, don't you?
Tell me which one, tell me which one, tell me which one.
Talking loud and saying nothing, remember?
I remember that so well.
Well, our guest producer is talking loud and saying something.
He better be saying something.
And he is Maurice Carver, and the name of his show is called Black Men Screaming. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me here today.
Okay.
Maurice Carver. The show is called Black Men Screaming. Why?
Yes, we want to know.
Okay, well, one of the things is I've always had a supportive base of friends and family, and I thought that there wasn't really positive images of black males on TV. And it didn't seem like there was any black males that had anything to say about the issues that were affecting their lives as well as their communities. So I said, well, we need to have a forum where we can present issues and show that the black men care about their communities, their families, all these things that are going on. And so that's where Black Men Screaming comes from.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay.
Because sometimes I feel like in society, they don't really hear you, like you don't really exist. Remember the book, Invisible Man?
Yeah, I love
Ralph
that
Ellison?
book. Very good book.
So I really thought about that when I thought of the name.
Okay, how long have you had the show?
Okay, the show has been on, I think, since April of '98. So it's been about 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I have an excellent crew. My director is Denise Sutton, and she's fabulous.
Yeah, she is fabulous.
Yeah, we're going to interview her.
Hopefully we'll get her down here, yeah.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so tell us about some of the shows that you've done, and we are going to see clips of them.
Okay, well, we've done various things. We've talked about what does it mean to be a man, talking about the responsibilities of men in the family, not just the economic responsibility, but the emotional responsibility to be there. We've talked about the Diallo situation. We've talked about the police shootings, and not only Diallo, but Ferguson, and we actually visited the Diallo site, and we had one of the most emotional programs we ever had.
Now, the first clip that we're going to see has Danny Glover, and that has to do with the fact that black men have trouble getting taxis in this city.
Right. I don't think I think that it's changed somewhat, but one of the issues that I definitely felt, I mean, when I was in the suit, tie, shoes, everything looking sharper than anybody, I couldn't get a cab to stop for me, and so I thought it was very important when they had a forum that Black Men Screaming be there and speak about those issues. Okay, well, that clip is ready. Let's look at the clip.
Let's look at the clip. Black Men Screaming.
My name is Maurice Carver, and I am host of a show called Black Men Screaming, also executive director of an organization called Stride Incorporated, which focuses on the opportunities that we can present to young African American Latino students in the areas of math and science. As an educated black man, I get tired sometimes of listening to people excuse their individual behavior. I'm tired of people saying, well, it's systemic in society. We know that. But you need to look at your individual self. Do you know how it feels to be passed on the street by a cab and see another person down there? It hurts deeply, okay? No one talks about that pain, especially being a black man in America. My father and my grandfather fought for this country. Some of the rights and privileges of these people who are driving cabs were achieved by African Americans that fought very hard for you to come to this country. You need to recognize that. My fight is not with you, because like you said before, it's a society. And I think that Mayor Giuliani is disingenuous when he speaks to this issue, because I just think it's another political issue for him. You know, when you eliminate programs that work with young people, predominantly African American Latinos people, when you put communities against each other, then you're dividing people. So I don't think he's really interested in this issue. I think it's a political issue. And I think that what we really need to do is look at opportunities that can be presented, like you said, in dialogue. The other issue that I want to talk about is when we talk about saying cab services going from yellow cabs going from the city to the outer boroughs, What happens to those particular businesses, delivery cab service, that's been thriving in those areas? Those people who have been serving the African American Latino community, what happens to their business? Because now we're infringing on their particular area, and no one's really spoke to that particular issue. Are they going to be allowed to come down? And when we talk about crime, this is the last point I'm going to make. I hear people talk about African American Latinos. I didn't hear anyone talk about any numbers. What percentage of crimes, first, what defines a crime? Okay. Secondly, what percentage of cabbies have experienced crime? And of that percentage of people that experience crime, what percentage of those people that committed the crime were African American Latino? I'm sure if we looked at those numbers, a lot of people will be changing their mind, okay? Because a lot of things are based on perception. Thank you.
We're here again with Black Men Screaming with Mr. Glover.
Yeah.
So what did you think about the conference today?
Well, I think it's an important first step. I think we heard a lot of people's voices out here today, and people had legitimate concerns, and they were heard. And I think it's just a first step in the right direction, you know. And I want to reiterate all of that. I'm not here to kind of beat up on cab drivers.
Right.
You know, there's not the joint of that. I totally, I was totally against the decision made to crack down on cab drivers. The dialogue that we wanted is the dialogue that I started out with is the dialogue that I wanted, and the dialogue that's happening right now with cab drivers.
Okay, thank you very much.
All right.
Okay, we're going to wrap it up right now. Ron, would you like to come in here? Okay. So Ron, how do you think this particular...
Okay, where was this taking place?
This was a conference at Pace University, and we were like the first people there.
Who initiated the conference?
Danny Glover initiated the conference along with his personal lawyer, whose name escapes me right now. But we had a chance to hear not only from African Americans, but from whites and from Indian drivers and for African drivers. And we had a chance to discuss some of the issues that they felt was affecting their lives. And we're concerned, as we said on our show, we are concerned about people's personal safety. But we want people in the African American community as well as the Latino community to be respected.
Now you have a variety of shows, you said, and there is something else that you of import on another B-roll that we're going to see soon.
It's about Amadou Diallo.
Right. This is after the whole situation happened, and we wanted to go to the National Action Network to speak to Al Sharpton and get a little feedback on what could the African American community do to kind of change some of the minds of these politicians as well as the public. What options do we have, economic as well as political?
Okay, something from Black Men Screaming. Let's take a look at it.
From Al Sharpton on Black Men Screaming, and we just wanted to get his idea of what they think about this economic. Someone was talking about they were going to have an economic boycott of New York City, and we wanted to find out what did you think about that, Reverend Sharpton?
Well, you have to explain to me what you're talking about. Economic boycott is New York City how?
In terms of like the same situation that happened down in South Carolina, how they were like telling people not to come to the city until they deal with black people with respect.
I think that is something that would be good. The whole tourism attraction of the city is something that Giuliani brags about. If we would try to affect conventions and tourists from coming here, it would hit them in the pocketbook. Something like that, well organized, could be effective, yes.
We thank you, and we know you're very busy. You have some strategy meetings. We thank you very much for coming on Black Men Screaming, and we hope to see you sometime in the studio, Reverend Al Sharpton.
I made time because I am a Black Man Screaming.
All right.
And that's why we're here to talk to you. Thank you.
All right, you heard that? Al Sharpton used the title, the phrase, Black Men Screaming. Congratulations.
Well, again, we want to let people know that there are men of color who are concerned about issues that are affecting their communities. Not only their communities, because it's a global community. And so everything that's happening in Africa and everything that's happening in Europe and all of these different places concern us. And we were glad to be able to just get an interview with Al Sharpton because it was really crazy that day. And emotions were just overpouring. I mean, we had interviews on the street. And, you know, it was crazy because when we were talking to people, the police were monitoring us. They were watching us. They were driving up in their cars, and they thought they were undercover, but they weren't. And we were watching them. But people decided that we still going to speak.
Talking about Black Men Screaming,
right.
I think that we must perceive, we must understand that anything we do is being watched and recorded.
Right.
And we have to throw that secretiveness off because that will hold us back. Everything we do is being recorded.
Well, we've been talking with Maurice Carver. He has the show Black Men Screaming. And he's going to tell us a little bit about his organization, Stride Incorporated, which is an acronym, right?
Right, that stands for Science and Technology Research Initiative to Develop Excellence. And I thought of that.
Okay.
And basically, it's an offshoot of another organization that I was involved in while I was at Stony Brook University. There was a very important person in my life, beside my parents, who encouraged me in everything I did, was a gentleman named Lloyd Sargent, who was involved in NAACP and really involved in getting minorities on campus and staying on campus, you know, because we get a lot of people to get there and don't finish. So, you know, the retention rate has been very low. So his focus was on encouraging and being positive, and also, you know, stressing the critical thinking skills that we need in order to succeed, in college. So one of the things that we did was try to incorporate it. We said, well, what areas are African American Latinos not succeeding? And the area was in math and science. So we said, how can we structure a program that's going to be nurturing as well as informative and push that forward in the community? So I got together some of my buddies from Stony Brook. It was all men in the beginning of the board, and we went forward with this program. So what we tried to do was get other organizations involved in mentoring the students, as well as providing scholarships for students to go on to college. We also had different work experiences for students. So we were trying to get involved in everything, as well as creating laboratories within the educational system. Like a particular school we was working with, we tried to build up the labs, bring in equipment from other schools, donations from Mercy College and other places.
So what year did you actually bring this about?
Stride started, I think, as of 1989. And we're a 501c3 organization, incorporated. So, and I had thousands of people come along and have helped me to really push this dream forward, because it really started, again, from my parents. My parents, when I went away to school, always said to me that they thought it was important that we got back involved in the community. When I graduated from school, I could have stayed at Stony Brook. I had a job waiting for me. But it was important to them and to me as a commitment to come back and speak to young people.
Now, if someone wants to get in touch with you about this organization,
Stride
Incorporated,
right,
what would they do?
They can either write to our P.O. Box, which is Stride Incorporated, P.O. Box 216, New York, 123, or they can contact me at 347-739-4254. We're in the process of moving our offices from Manhattan because it just got too expensive to be in Manhattan right now.
And it's going to be much more expensive with 10% of the commercial space now gone because of the World Trade Center.
Okay. Well, you have another clip that you want to share with us, and this clip was done right before it turned the year 2000. And it's about...
So that was that controversy about Y2K?
Yeah, everyone thought, well, not everyone, most people thought that the computers were going to stop, and people were anxious. There was a lot of anxiety.
Yeah, we had a few people on there, and we asked them to talk about what issues they thought were the most important issues for the year.
All right.
Okay, so...
Okay. Black men screaming, another B-roll.
Right.
Hello, my name is Maurice Carver, Executive Director of Stride Incorporated and the host of your show, Black Men Screaming. I'd like to welcome you today to a special show. This is our end of the year show and our Christmas and Kwanzaa wrap-up. I'd like to welcome my guests today, Vernon Wells, Mark Claxton, Jonathan Irons, Patrick Brown, and Noel Leader. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, this is an open show. We're going to have fun today. We're going to talk about a lot of things, but this is to talk about what was the most important issues of the year. And Vernon, we're going to start with you. We're going to put you on the spot. What was your issue that you thought was very important, especially to the Black and Latino community in New York City?
Well, I think one of the, I'll deal with one, and that was the Abner Louima decision that came down, and the fact that they imprisoned one of those racist police officers that part of the institution that we come from. His name being Justin Volpe, and also the other police officer, I think it's Charles Swartz.
Yeah.
And just the fact of seeing them in prison, and also the other, I think the other two officers that was also involved, the fact that they lost their jobs and now they're going to also serve some time with the civil rights violations.
So why do you think that's so important?
It's important because it's a victory in a sense for African people and Latino people, in the sense to saying that finally the only way you're going to get justice is sometimes you have to go federal to get justice, because you locally there's no such thing as justice in this city at times that we've seen. But I think it's in a sense, it's one victory, and you haven't seen that, whereas you have a lot of police officers being convicted. But it's because of this happening, I think it's a chain effect. There's things that's happening in Los Angeles also that's similar.
The Rampart situation
right.
in Los Angeles.
So this thing here, in a sense, is just leading into other things that also have occurred.
If you're not aware of what the Rampart situation is in Los Angeles, it's like a corruption scandal where the police officers in Los Angeles County were found out to be, I guess, convicting people and beating up people and doing things that were totally illegal, even though, you know, that particular thought was that the police department was supposed to be an excellent one, and those things didn't happen out there.
It's funny you mentioned about the Rampart situation, because one of the units, the unit that was under the most scrutiny was called the crash unit. And some of their tactics are very similar to what the tactics are of the street crime unit here in New York City. And some of...
you know, I want to say that people might be looking for somewhere to donate some money, some funds, and that Stride Incorporated is a 501c3 organization.
Yes,
and
it
it's
is.
fully tax deductible by law,
Right.
and it's a great place to send your money. Now, I wanted to say thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.
What time does it come on?
Yes.
Okay, we show twice on Thursdays, 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Channel 35 and Channel 68, and 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. at night on the same channels.
Are you in other boroughs besides Brooklyn?
Right now, we were in Manhattan, but we had a couple of problems over there, so we're only showing in Brooklyn right now. But we would like to be in other boroughs.
What kind of responses have you had from
Yeah, that's
the
always interesting.
viewing public?
Well, responses have varied, you know, from Mr. Carver, you're an idiot, to, you know, keep up the good work, Mr. Carver. I mean, I have had people
Really?
tell me that, you know, they didn't agree with some of it. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to get a dialogue going, because I don't want people to think that these issues are not important, and especially that we show positive images of black men on TV. That's one of the things we want to get across.
What's the number again?
Okay, the phone number is 347-739-4254, and the P.O. Box for Stride Incorporated is P.O. Box 216, New York, New York, 123.
What's your favorite show?
I think my favorite show was the one that we didn't show today because I couldn't get the tape in time. It was when we went to the Diallo site. I think that probably was the most emotional show we had, because it hurt me deeply to see where he was shot down at. And I think if everybody, and even if the jury had went to that spot, they would have convicted every one of those police officers.
Do you think people are hearing your screams?
Well, if they're not, we're going to keep it up. So eventually they're going to have to listen.
Okay.
And pump up the volume if necessary.
There you go.
Okay.
Now, you know, Stella, when you're dealing with black men screaming, there's just so much of it. I'm wondering, are people actually sitting down the way this particular show is asking people and give critical thought to issues? Break it down. What is the reason for this? Why is this happening? Like what you did when you went to Pace University, and you were in the room with cab drivers of all nationalities, and you said to them that you want to see the statistics. You want to see the statistics for how many crimes are actually committed. And then you want to break it down and see. Maybe you can regurgitate that information.
Well, we wanted to see who was committing these crimes, because there's a perception that African American Latinos are the ones that are committing all these crimes, but we don't have hard data to tell us if that is the situation or not. And so I said, well, until I see hard data, then I don't want you to be blaming me or someone who looks like me.
And that's very, very important. Perception, I think that's where you ended, the B-roll ended the tape, is perception is so important. And that's what rules in this country with the media, just perceiving certain things and not actually knowing. And I think that was a very good thing for people to do. Go back to the event and break it down slowly.
Now, with your organization, could you give us a success story, like about a young person that you influenced through your organization? Thank you.
It was, I can't remember the person's name now, I'm sorry. But I remember there was a young man from Haiti that came over, and he had language problems, but he was very gifted in terms of his skills. He was a draftsman, he was an engineer, he had critical thinking skills, and this guy was tremendous, and we tried to put all our resources behind him to get him into a school. And it was excellent. But I think the biggest one was there was a person that came to the school that actually was supposed to speak, and he didn't show up. So the assistant principal asked me to fill in. I had just happened to show up because we had started a George Washington Carver Science Center at the school we were working at, and so in order not to disappoint the kids, we came there and we had a dialogue with them, and we talked about how even if you don't know me, we're family, we're related, and where you live is called a neighborhood, not a ghetto, and those type of issues talking about.
So we have to wrap up real quick. So what the end result was that this young man.
Right, he went on and he went to college and he graduated and he's now an engineer. So
excellent. Well,
congratulations.
Well,
that's what it's about.
Yes. Well, thank you for being on Producer's Profile.
Thank you very much.
Yes. I'm Stella Winston.
And I'm Orville Nelson. Thank you so much for watching. And please tune in to Black Men Screaming. Now,